I'm leaving, Daniel. Her voice wasn't trembling. That's what shattered me the most. It was calm, steady, like she'd rehearsed it 1,000 times. I looked up from the dining table, where the remains of last night's dinner still sat. 2 plates, one untouched. Leaving? What are you talking about? Maya stood by the doorway, her suitcase already zipped, her coat draped over her arm. She wasn't crying. She wasn't angry. She looked finished. I can't do this anymore, she said. You deserve honesty at least. Honesty. That word hung in the air like a cruel joke. We'd been married for 7 years. 7 years of laughter, late-night takeout, inside jokes, and the kind of love I thought could survive anything. I thought we were solid, even through the arguments about bills, her long hours at the firm, and my failed startup that drained more than just our savings. I thought we were a team. Maya, just tell me what happened. I managed, my throat tightening. Did I do something? Is it someone else? She looked down. That silence told me everything. My legs went weak. Who? She hesitated before answering. It doesn't matter, Daniel. It matters to me. My voice cracked, desperation clawing its way out of my chest. Her eyes met mine, cold, almost pitying. He makes me feel alive again. I'm sorry. Then she turned, opened the door and left. Just like that. The sound of the door clicking shut was the loudest silence I'd ever heard. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time didn't make sense. I just sat there, staring at the empty chair across from me. Her half-drunk glass of wine still glinting in the low light. I wanted to scream. To break something. To chase her down the hallway and beg her to stay. But instead I just sat there, numb. Then I remembered something. A drawer. It was an old oak cabinet in our bedroom, tucked behind her vanity. I'd built it myself years ago after we moved in. She never knew that one of the drawers had a false back, a tiny compartment I'd made for fun, a secret space for things like anniversary letters, love notes, or the silly Polaroids we'd taken on our honeymoon in Greece. It had become a time capsule of who we used to be. Maybe, God maybe, I'd find something that explained this. Something that made sense of the woman who'd just walked out the door. The bedroom felt colder without her. Her perfume still lingered in the air, mixed with the faint scent of lavender from the candle she always forgot to blow out. I pulled the drawer open. Empty, except for a few old bracelets and a dried rose from our first date. My hands trembled as I slid my fingers along the back panel, pressing against the tiny latch I'd carved years ago. Blick. The false back popped open. Inside were the things I'd left there. Photos, folded notes, a few letters I'd written but never given her. But something new caught my eye. Small black envelope. It wasn't mine. I unfolded it slowly. Inside were printed receipts, hotel bookings, restaurant bills, credit card charges I didn't recognize. All dated within the last 4 months. Different cities. Different weekends. All the time she'd told me she was at work conferences. My stomach turned. One of the receipts had a name scribbled on it, Evan. I'd met him once. Her colleague. The guy she said was just a friend. The edges of the paper blurred as my vision swam. My chest ached, every breath sharp and shallow. Then I saw the photo. Polaroid. Of her. Smiling. Sitting on a bed in some hotel room, wearing the same necklace I gave her for our 5th anniversary. The one she said she'd lost months ago. I dropped the picture like it burned. For a long time I just sat on the floor, the drawer still open, my life spilling out in black ink and silent betrayal. I thought of every late meeting, every girls' night out, every moment she'd kissed me goodnight with lips that didn't belong to me anymore. The anger came slow, like a rising tide. Not the loud kind that screams and throws things, but the quiet kind, the kind that eats you from the inside. How long had she planned this? How many nights had she laid beside me, pretending? I reached for one of the old letters I'd written her years ago. I'd never given it to her because it felt too raw, too sentimental. In it, I'd written about how she was my home, how I'd never imagined life without her. I laughed bitterly. Home, I muttered. What a joke. When the doorbell rang, I almost didn't move. But something in me wanted confrontation, wanted to see if she'd actually have the nerve to come back. Open the door. It wasn't Maya. It was Evan. He looked startled to see me. Daniel. I didn't think you'd be here. My jaw clenched. What the hell are you doing here? He hesitated, shifting awkwardly. Maya left her passport at the office. She asked me to drop it off. My eyes narrowed. You're sleeping with my wife, and now you're running her errands. He froze. Look man, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Save it. My voice was low, shaking. You don't get to talk to me like I'm some stranger. You knew she was married. He had the decency to look ashamed. She said you were distant, that you stopped caring. I stepped closer. And you believed her. You think that gives you the right to destroy someone's marriage? He didn't answer. I took the passport from his hand and slammed the door in his face. That night I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of the bed, the drawer still open beside me. I stared at the remnants of a life that no longer existed, a pile of old memories tainted by new truths. I thought about calling her, about screaming, demanding answers. But what would that change? She'd made her choice. Then, out of nowhere, I felt a strange calm wash over me. I took out a pen and a piece of paper. And I started writing, not to her but for myself. You can't love someone who lives in shadows. You can't build a future on lies. I gave you everything I had, and maybe that wasn't enough, but it was real. And one day, when you're alone, I hope you remember that I loved you honestly, even when you couldn't. I folded the note and placed it back into the secret compartment. My drawer, my truth, was full again. But this time it wasn't love I was hiding. It was closure. A week later she came back. Not for me, for her things. When I opened the door, she looked smaller somehow, her confidence cracked. I didn't expect you to be here, she said softly. I live here, I replied. You just visited. She looked around the room, her eyes landing on the empty space where her vanity used to be. You took it down. I did, I said. Found a few things you forgot to hide. Her face went pale. She knew exactly what I meant. Maya, I said quietly, I could spend the rest of my life hating you. But I won't. You don't deserve that kind of power. Tears welled in her eyes for the first time. I'm sorry, Daniel. I really am. I know, I said. But sorry doesn't rebuild what you burned. She nodded, her lip trembling. Then she turned and left for the last time. I didn't chase her. I didn't cry. Instead, I closed the door, walked back to the bedroom, and opened the drawer one last time. The false back was still open, my letter resting inside. This time I added something new. A Polaroid of me smiling. Alone but lighter somehow. I slid the panel shut, sealing it not as a hiding place, but as a tomb for what once was. As the latch clicked, I whispered to the empty room, "Goodbye, Maya." And for the first time in months I meant it.